Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast.
That's Jeremy.
And that's Jib. And today we're talking about some cool tech news.
Always tech news.
It's always about the tech news. Come on. We're talking about space internet. We're talking about video games. And we're talking about, personal situations that affect the internet and video games. Personally, my internet and how much better it's gotten lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I've called out my personal ISP before.
I think it was like somewhere last year in 2021.
Yeah, so TDS Telecom, shout outs to you. You actually made my internet better.
Again.
Yeah, went from 15 megabit to 50 megabit.
Which is a huge upgrade. That's almost like,
massive.
3 times.
Well, went from what isn't even considered like DSL anymore. Yeah. Like I think the federal guideline for DSL is like 25.
Really?
Something like that. I mean, it gets boosted, every once in a while as like the standard gets changed.
Huh. I remember from DSL at my old house, I used to get like 5 megabit down.
Yeah.
So I had to struggle gaming on that.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
It's impossible. How are you even going to download a patch?
Well, there was only, 2 people in the house, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, even then, though, having like a dedicated 5 megabit is not... It's not very good. So now I have 10 times that.
Yeah.
And let me say, it's like I'm in a whole new world.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's internet that actually works. Where previously it was like, yeah, you have one person watching Netflix. Good luck doing anything else. If you could, you'd be waiting around a little bit. You're going to have buffering. You're going to have like weird spikes because like you've got too much downloading going on or oddly enough, too much uploading. Like upload would really used to cut my like download speed.
Right.
Now got like 50 megabit download, 8 megabit upload, which is like an 8 times increase on the upload.
That's what I almost get. And, on the outside of town here in Mariana is I say 50 megabit. I got 50.
And I live out in the woods.
Yeah, you live in the middle of absolutely nowhere. I've been to your house before.
Yeah, I live about 30 minutes from. I can't tell you because I don't want you to find my house.
Yeah.
So, but I live 40 minutes away from civilization, no matter where I go. So
on either side.
Yeah. So the fact that I've got decent internet now is really cool.
Yeah.
And up until this point, I've just been depending on SpaceX to finally like offer Starlink in my area.
We've been talking about that in the office for a pretty long amount of time. Even on the podcast a couple times, we were talking about Starlink and their satellite internet, or the revolutionary new satellite internet. And so you're actually going to be able to participate in the package.
I got the invite.
You did? You got the invite.
I got the invite. I paid the deposit. I'm hoping that they'll ship it out eventually.
Is that a full release or is that beta still?
So I don't think it's considered beta anymore.
Right.
I think technically they're out of beta, but they don't have a public service announcement, or they don't
have a cutting ribbon like.
No, they don't tell anybody anything. They don't make announcements. They just send out an occasional email. Like I was literally on the waiting list for a year.
Hey, we're still alive.
Like ordered the 8th of February 2021. Waited that entire time. Only got one email right towards the end of the year, basically telling me that you'll be next year. And then get the email February 1st that we're ready to go.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So hopefully then that will boost me from 50 megabit to 150 megabit.
Is there any way you can mesh, just personal question, is there any way you can mesh Starlink with like DSL, you'd think?
Yeah, so like, I mean, we kind of play around with networks and that kind of stuff, right? We actually kind of handle a class handling that sort of stuff. So in this instance, you can do, it's not like a direct, like you're not going to get 200, but you can separate it out. So you can bond like internet channels, right? Like using a router, you can basically then do like, what is it? Like network kind of management. So you can send it off to like, download will be happening on this line. And then if it goes over that point, it kicks over to this one. I'm hopefully going to use it as like a failover.
Right.
So if Starlink has any downtime or say we have some inclement weather, it'll kick back over to our actually passable TDS internet and shouldn't be any discernible difference, like it's going to be download difference, but like, you're talking about hurricane or something, right?
That would
actually happy to have something.
That would actually be like a really smart idea to have, just in Florida, even whenever we do have major storms and hurricanes, as have a failover for internet, so at least you have some way to contact out.
Yeah, right.
So
I mean that's actually really big if you don't have some sort of communication, and when you have a big storm like that, cell towers go down.
Yeah, so because cell towers depend on land power generation. And so with satellite internet, they're up in the space, so you don't even need to worry about it.
Even actually with landline internet, depending on where you are, right? Like during Michael, we had no power for 8 days.
Yeah.
We managed to get a generator after a few.
I had no power for I think 20 or something days.
Yeah. Oh, some people have it way worse, you know, depending on where you're at. Luckily, you know, we're on a power cooperative, so they're actually pretty swift about getting stuff done. They spent a bunch of money getting everything put back up. So literally, they rebuilt their entire power network in like 8 days.
Dude,
wild. Neighboring counties took them much longer, just like you, 20 days or more. If you had other electrical issues, had to wait for an electrician to do something, a month, 2 months.
They had generators up at the service boxes where the landlines would be, just so they can keep phone lines in, so people can actually communicate in and out.
Call in like when you have a problem. So yeah, that's something is that like we actually did have internet connection as long as we had power at our house.
Yeah.
It's that the power wasn't out where the internet was coming from.
Yeah.
You know, the like service like point, it still had power. But Starlink is actually really great because if you have a localized disaster where you have, say, you're on an island nation or something like that, and your whole infrastructure is destroyed, you can still have satellites beam up into space and bring you stuff as long as you've got a way to make power. You've got solar panels.
What you're telling me is, if I'm stranded on a deserted island, as long as I bring a Starlink with me and can, get one of them hand crank motors, I can have free internet. It's not free internet.
No, you'd still have to pay $99 a month.
$99 a month, but still though, for a good internet package like that, especially.
And they're saying it's 150 to like 250 megabit. I've seen people get much over that.
What are you losing?
Not a whole lot. You're getting like it's supposed to be 20 millisecond or so ping, which is very close to what I've got now.
Probably a lot better than DSL, and sometimes even better than cable, which is what I have right now.
The only way you really get better is having terrestrial fiber.
Yeah.
Which is hard to come by.
And it's really expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting things you can do with a satellite-based internet. Like you can actually have, it's something I learned about, that a lot of gas stations actually run off of like a satellite backlink.
Yeah.
Where they will basically all be on the same network, so they're able to communicate to each other as if they were on like a LAN.
Yeah, they'll communicate data. Sometimes if you even look on top of gas stations, and most of the time actually you'll be able to see a satellite dish that sits on top of the gas station.
Something I didn't know until just recently.
Yeah,
it's
really?
pretty cool. Yeah, something I just never really thought of or paid attention to, the fact that like, of course everything has to be data connected.
Yeah, welcome to our podcast where you'll learn something you never knew.
Yeah. And something you didn't need to know, because I was perfectly fine without, with this. But if you want to run a gas station, Starlink might be a better choice.
That actually might be a really good idea.
And on that same like topic, you've got Starlink that's actually offering a more commercial service now that they're announcing. In about a year's time, you'll be able to pay something like $500 a month for like a commercial 500 megabit to gigabit service.
Gigabit satellite through gigabit satellite.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And just specifically for like businesses, campuses, that kind of thing. And it's a significantly more expensive, where the like home residential service is like $500 for the dish, and then $100 a month. They want $2,500 for the dish and $500 a month.
Well,
so I thought it was kind of cool, but there's no way I'm paying that.
Whenever you compare it to something like fiber, which most commercial institutions run off of, I mean it's fair trade. Honestly, you're getting a gigabit.
It's a lot cheaper than having to pay $12,000 to run a fiber cable.
Not even to run a fiber cable, but to also install it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's super expensive.
Yeah. So. All around, very expensive prospect, but it's cool if you need that, and you can have it anywhere. It's not like you're dependent on.
You're not geo-locked.
Yeah, right. As long as you have a clear view of the sky, you're good to go.
Which is, in a lot more cases, more reasonable than some.
It's doable depending on where you are. I mean, you build up a tower, put it up on a roof. It can be done. I mean, Now, on to other topics.
On to probably one of the bigger topics that we've ever discussed on this podcast.
This is actually a pretty big bombshell.
Yeah.
So let's talk about two big gaming companies. What's one that comes to your head?
Gaming companies?
Yeah, where they do.
Please. Sony. Sony's one. Yeah.
Sony. No, we're talking about Microsoft.
Oh no.
Microsoft. And think of another one that's not Sony.
It's not the one on fire right now, is it?
Oh, yeah, I think it might be. It might be. I think I've heard about a Blizzard of Fire.
Activision
Fire. Yeah, Activision Blizzard is really having a tough time.
Time is...
It's a
euphemism. It's a euphemism.
So if you're not aware, Activision Blizzard, big gaming publisher. And do we call them developer too? Because they actually own a lot of developers.
They develop their own games in-house, I'd say. So, yeah.
Really big. They're known for making acquisitions, and they've been doing that for a long time, being the one to go around and gobble up all the little studios. And then apparently not really treat their employees all that well, kind of allow harassment and all sorts of bad juju.
Not so nice things happen within the office space, and there's been several investigations.
There have been allegations of CEOs knowing about this, covering this kind of stuff up, and ultimately this led to a lawsuit in California.
Well, California declared a lawsuit on Activision Blizzard, and they're launching a whole investigation on them. Yeah. So,
just in general, bad stuff that you're not supposed to do, when you're a company, and it's just employees. Just shouldn't be treated that way.
What does it do to your business? It absolutely tanks the value of your business, is what it does.
Significantly. You have stockholders who come in and say, "What is going on here? I thought you were running our company well. I thought you were not sexually harassing employees."
And then they're gonna, sell your stock for as cheap as they can get it, and then boom, you're off the charts.
And then you have another company come in, and this is what's happened, right? You've got all of this bad stuff happening with Activision. CEO Bobby Kotick is like, "Oh, what do I do?" And comes up with a deal with Microsoft, who has actually been on the prowl looking for companies to take over, basically.
Haven't they always been?
Yeah. I mean, as a big, let's call them the video game Netflix, right? Yeah. That Microsoft is, and their gaming division is growing significantly. They found an opportunity to acquire the largest publisher out there that owns so much IP. So much IP that they don't even touch or use, that now Microsoft is going to be able to do whatever they want with.
And Microsoft has the money to do whatever they want with Activision Blizzard and their subsidiaries.
Yeah. So. And they're acquiring it at a steep discount as well, right?
Steep and small discount, yes.
Yes, I'd like to cut a few $1 billion off of your price, please.
Oh my lord.
I mean, and from this, I think, who knows how it will go, because the lawsuits are still going to be ongoing. There's still going to be other sorts of things. But this is a way for the CEO to kind of exit, get out, and kind of have with a clean slate. Don't bother me, hey, whatever.
Hey, it's not my company. I don't have to
Not my company anymore. So. Microsoft's handling it.
Yep.
And you now actually have other employees being worried about this now, because it's, what happens to our job? When big purchases like this happen, it often comes with downsizing and employee cuts and budget cuts and all of that kind of stuff. One hope, though, is that, so it's kind of bad from a human standpoint. You feel bad for anyone that's involved, and it's a big.
Oh, absolutely.
But it should be better than what it was before, right? Yeah. I've not really heard too many bad things about the employee culture at Microsoft. I think they're pretty okay.
Most people I've met from Microsoft have said, pretty positive things about it, other than some few scenarios. But I mean,
but you always get that.
Yeah.
So it could be good for the gamers, maybe, considering that Activision is one to go out, acquire a product, acquire a studio, get them to pump out a game, and then just dissolve the studio.
Maybe we'll get, Overwatch 2, or maybe we'll get another Overwatch hero.
I was hoping for, have you heard of a cool little game called Metal Arms Glitch in the System?
I have not, actually.
So this is a game from 2005 or something like that, that was developed by Vivendi Studios. Vivendi Studios was acquired by Activision.
Oh, that makes sense why I haven't heard them before.
Yeah, so it was a game that was released on the original Xbox, the GameCube, and I think the PlayStation 2 or something like that. Not exactly a big success, but it was kind of a cult hit. People really liked it if they knew of it, and otherwise they didn't. And it didn't really have a lot of advertising done for it. And there wasn't a big push. It got acquired by Activision. They now have the rights, and they just didn't ever do anything with it. But it was planned to have a 3-part series. The first game ended on a cliffhanger. I'll get you, glitch. Like, and then the actual creator, the guy who like made it, wanted to continue the series.
Right.
He tried to acquire the rights back from Activision, and they wouldn't let him. Just so they could do nothing with it.
Just so they could do nothing with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're
Yep.
and they're not even getting any money from it at all. They could give him the rights, and yet they just
they could literally hand him the rights, and it would cost them nothing. He was willing to pay them for it, and they wouldn't do it. And that's what Activision was like.
known to do.
Yeah. So maybe now Microsoft can look back at this vast library of things and be like, hey, well, maybe we can do something with all of this.
Revamp and maybe, renew some game series.
Because, I mean, Microsoft has been pretty good with, like, indie studios, like, kind of trying to bring up, they're trying to make a platform, right? So they want to be a bit more open, compete
Even on their Game Pass, what they do is they pay, indie game developers just so they can put their game up on the Game Pass for people to play for free under their subscription. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and when you look at it, it's honestly like an economic structure that works.
Yeah, I mean, and Netflix has shown it. That's why I want to say that, like, Microsoft is like the Netflix of games. They're trying to make themselves the Netflix of games because they're just acquiring a library and then putting it out for anyone that has the subscription. And when you have a large amount of people making the subscription, which is going to be, 50% or more of gamers out there, like, you've got Sony has their sort of Game Pass, Nintendo has their own sort of thing, but those are separate libraries. When you're talking about Microsoft and like what they have now, I mean, Activision's got Call of Duty. It's got, it's Activision Blizzard. So you've also got every like Blizzard game. You've got World of Warcraft,
Overwatch. You have StarCraft. You have Diablo. You have a whole just slew of games.
All of the popular big games, right?
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to be in that ecosystem. It's a setup that's looking pretty bad for Sony in the competitive space, right? In my opinion.
People are even theorizing that Sony might just have to depend on game development and might just have to ditch their whole console.
Sony might go the way of Sega.
Yeah.
Where Sega used to make their consoles, and then they had to stop doing that because it just wasn't profitable for them anymore. Yeah. And they had to make games on whatever system they could. And that could be where Sony goes. Because like Sony does have a good array of first-party titles that I would actually really like to see go onto Xbox or something, right? Like, why not play God of War on your Xbox?
Well, we already have God of War on PC. It just came to PC, actually.
That's actually kind of big.
And
that's practically on Xbox,
it's
right?
It's practically on Xbox now because, the whole platform of
cross-play
PC
and the whole Xbox Live is on Windows, so
the whole platform of Xbox is now just like it's a Windows thing now.
Yeah. Well, they've designed the Xbox now to basically be a PC. Yeah. Like it is just a PC and hardware. Like, I mean, it's an AMD CPU like system on chip, and I think some cool hard drives and stuff. And slap it all together and then put their own proprietary operating system on it. Yep. And I mean, it's basically Windows 10.
There you go. You got an Xbox.
Yeah. So it's big moves in the gaming world, big moves in the internet space, big news in tech in general, right?
Yeah. Can't wait to see what's going to happen next week.
Yeah. Who knows? It might be even bigger.
I hope not.
Or not.
We've already had too much happen recently.
Yeah.
It was a good episode.
Yeah. Cool.
I'll see you guys later.
Bye.